Alright, so, what's up, guys? I got a new patch for Revulsion out that fixes a pretty nasty game-breaking bug um, that RunStep reported, and if you're watching this video right now, it's being addressed, or it's already been addressed and uploaded. I'm going to make sure it happens as soon as possible. I'll let RunStep know. Odin Spiral was the one who helped me kind of come up with the actual proper solution, and it was during the stream and everything like that. You need bullet points to talk about stuff. Yeah, that could probably help. It's just that, I don't know, it should come out more naturally. So the other thing that I wanted to go into in this video is to talk about my ideas in regards to Revulsion 2. Now, I've been really mulling this over, and I know that there's been a lot of, I've talked about doing like really, at least one more big content patch for Revulsion 1, and I know I've done, but over time, the more and more I've been thinking about this, the more I'm thinking that it makes more sense to just start with a fresh slate and do everything better, this time around. And I think that Revulsion 2 is just going to have to be the way to go, because every time I kind of come back to Revulsion 1, I kind of find problems that shouldn't even exist, right? Now, if I actually try to start up on Revulsion 2, it's going to be a pretty interesting thing. So, here's my thoughts on stuff. I want to get feedback on this. I want to, everybody who's a fan of Revulsion, please speak up and let me know what you think about some of this stuff. Now, some of this stuff up here, all of these things are the question mark things. Although I'm thinking that this one right here isn't really a question mark one anymore. And I'll go over that in a second. But I'm going to go over this bullet point list. New name. I'm thinking that Revulsion was just a bad name. And I'm thinking Slaughter. I don't know about Re-Slaughter. But I want something that more closely resembles that of like the the Slaughter maps, or something that kind of conjures an image of like Slaughter from like Doom 2, WADs and stuff like that people would make, or something along those lines. I'm not really sure what would be the better new name for it. Aim to give the game a unique identity. I know that this is really weird, but it's kind of funny to me, and in a lot of ways it would get people to be like, what is this? Like, what the fuck are you doing? But it would, I don't know. But it also kind of speaks to, I guess, my personality, with VR chat ties and like, kind of being in sort of that kind of community. Has this kind of made it sort of like, I wouldn't mind it if the idea behind it was just really off the wall. And I've even talked about down here, if you look at Zero Story, literally accidentally kill the writer for the story in the first room. Like, actually have the story be about there's no story. Like, literally. Like, the person who was writing the story dies in the first area or something. And then that's basically how it goes from there, and like everybody realizes they're fucked because they have no future. And everybody's just like, it's just like demons from hell and shit start showing up. I don't know, something like that. Inventory system. So these are rough ideas right here. Let me go through these because there's actually a lot of them. Inventory system roughly intact from Revulsion. Find items in the field. Weight limitation. Equip new items on the fly. Should it be like this? Should I continue this, or should I go down a route that's a little bit more modernized? All new loot system where loot is obtained as tokens, and once you bring them back to the hub, you can appraise the token to see what the item is. So, some games, like, there are a few games out there right now that are kind of like this. I know that Borderlands isn't this way. Borderlands is much closer to this. Maybe I should just stick to what I already know works, but in some ways, something like this might be useful because it would be, I don't know, yeah, attention-grabbing and unique, in regards to this stuff up here. I don't know. I'm not really sure which way to go on this just yet. I think maybe it makes sense for me just to stick to what I know works. You know what I mean? But something like this actually kind of complements, you know, like other stuff. I don't know. It's kind of a weird toss-up. I've also explored the idea of maybe, you know, you only carry 3 or 4 weapons, but each weapon has 2 fire modes, right? Now, 2 fire modes, like when you have like randomly generated weapons, I know this is kind of inspired a lot by the new Borderlands, but you know, you can get a gun that has like 2 fire modes, and one of them's like, you know, full auto, and one of them fires rockets or something like that. You never really know what you're gonna get. Like one of them's for ice damage, and one of them's for fire damage. Or I could just leave it the way it currently is right now, with all of the unique weapon slots. Melee weapons in Revulsion 2 will just be their own slot. There's not going to be an offhand melee. You'll have to switch to your melee and use it that way. Now, multiplayer deathmatch is the other one. I don't know, like, this is probably just something I'm just going to take off the table for now. I want to be more PvE centric. But, I mean, it's not out of the question to have like the ability to fight other players or whatever. I just don't have the infrastructure to support that kind of stuff in a meaningful way. You know, when it comes to PvE and co-op, you know, people can cheat. You know, if they want to cheat, that's their business. They can cheat. You know what I mean? But in PvE multiplayer, in PvP multiplayer, cheating is game breaking and it ruins the experience. Whereas, you know, what I'm going to have is probably going to be you know, very basic client server. Whoever is the server, you know, that person can, you know, generate a bunch of guns if they feel like it or whatever. Like, there's nothing I can really do about that, and I'm not even gonna try to fix that problem. You know. So, in this particular case, though, I've run into ammo. Ammo has always been kind of a weird thing. And I have a weird sort of hybrid solution that I want to try. So ammo works more like stamina. So every gun has its own like stamina bar. Well, it's not a bar. Like whenever you have the gun equipped out, right? You'll see how much it has. And when you fire the weapon, it has to, you know, the bar goes down, right? And kill odium. The bar goes down. And when it reaches, you know, the minimum amount, you know, it's 0, the gun will go on cooldown, in which case you can't use it for, like, I don't know, X amount of time. Like, every gun will be different, every gun will have, like, a different cooldown. And then once that cooldown is done, the gun is fully recharged, full ammo and everything like that. I mean, we're talking, like, you know, 5 seconds, maybe 10 at the worst, like, if you have a certain gun or something like that, right? And, you know, you might have like, you know, 20 or 30 shots out of the gun, and then it goes on cooldown. Now, one thing that might happen too is like when you don't have the weapon out, it's, you know, it regenerates the cooldown, or maybe it can do something like that. I don't want people waiting around into their ammo refills, but like during a tough fight, you still have to manage your ammo, because if you run out during the fight, 5 seconds is a long fucking time while you're beating the shit out of monsters and they're trying to kill you. But it's not a long time when you're running from from point A to point B. So in a way, this kind of a solution kind of takes things out of the I don't know, it just changes things quite a bit. You get X amount of shots before waiting on a recharge. Battery style system then. Yeah, kinda. And it would be for all of the guns. Like, every gun would have its own, like, stamina bar, basically. When you have the gun out, you can actually see it, stuff like that. No more voxel art style. Heavily influenced by Project Warlock and Quake 1. Heavily. In capitals. I'm not even touching the current art style. I don't want to hear fucking Minecraft. I don't even want it to be something that someone actually kind of utters under their breath, while even just seeing, you know, kind of the concept of it. I don't want Minecraft to have anything to do. All right, this is going to be very stylized towards that Project Warlock. If you don't know what Project Warlock looks like, I can very quickly load that up and show you. And this is my favorite art style that I've seen for indie first-person shooters. And Let's see if I can find a screenshot that's a better example. But like you see stuff like this, right? You see this, all right. Except the difference is that I'm gonna be a hybrid. I'm gonna be in the middle of like Quake 1, where everything is 3D models, but it looks like this. That's what I want. I'm not gonna like try to deviate from this. I want this art style with 3D models. Everything 3D models, as much as possible. So that's the idea there. Okay, so it's a combination of these two. Multiplayer co-op, part of the game right out of the box. Main thing. I don't know if it's going to be 2-player or 4-player. I don't know yet. All levels built in Doom Builder to capture a more Doomish feel. So building levels in Doom Builder, like first of all, Doom Builder is one of the best level design tools in existence, in my opinion. And you could see it. I mean, here's a level that I built and I'm currently working on right now in Doom 2. And this is utilizing all the full things like the floors over floors and the scripting and everything like that. Now, I realize that this level doesn't have any textures on it when you're looking at it right now. I could fly around in the version of Doom Builder where, you know, it has all that stuff. You have ramps, you have you know, the ability to do stuff like this, but it creates a flow that is going to force me to make something that feels more classic in nature. It's going to force me to make something that yeah, it's true. It does look a little bit more like Trove, that's for sure. Yeah, the pirate site I told you about. Someone was talking about Minecraft voxels or something. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm definitely leaning very, very much towards forcing myself to be in the mindset that I'm very used to, something that I have a lot of experience with, and that is I'm going to be building the levels and everything like that in Doom Builder right from the get-go with my own textures that are, you know, meant to look like Project Warlock style art style, and you know, Project Warlock Quake 1 style and everything like that. Open world, no missions, just a series of interconnected levels. Half-Life 1 style level loading areas, seamless in SP, more like Borderlands and co-op. So what does that mean? Like when you run into a hallway or something like that, and now you're like already in the next map. You'll just see the word loading underneath the crosshair, and then you're in the next map, right? It's even more seamless than this. It shouldn't be. I'm running in the editor and stuff like that, but that's the idea. Is that the level loading is going to be as seamless as possible. But if you're playing with other players, if you have people on your team or anything like that, whenever somebody starts off the sequence, everyone will be informed that you are trying to leave the area, and they will have to run into the same volume so that you can all load into the next level together. The open world thing is basically I'm just going to have a bunch of levels that are interconnected and basically give you objectives and ways to kind of reach them and everything like that. It won't necessarily always be linear and stuff like that. Monsters do not respawn. Once dead, they stay dead for a duration. So the death penalty works totally different. I don't want to do the same death penalty. I don't want everything to respawn. I don't want you to drop your loot when you die. I'm thinking literally they just come back after a certain amount of time. Music that plays more often. I'm going to do whatever I can to figure out if I can get, maybe somebody to help out or whatever. And I'm just going to have, songs that play, during the entire experience rather than having silence all the time where there's no music going on and everything like that. Hub with storage and fabricator, vending machine, fast travel, all pretty much intact. You pretty much get the idea of where that's going to be going. Fast travel nodes no longer behave like Darkseid's bonfires. Yeah, they don't respawn mobs. They don't replenish ammo. They won't need to replenish ammo because of this system right here. The ammo thing, I think I'm kind of decided on this actually. I think I kind of want to try this out. So you never have to worry about running out of ammo unless it's during an intense fight. Anyway, I don't need to talk about that more. Doom 2 movement, crouching, and jumping. So it's basically exactly like my Redemption of the Slain level for Doom 2. Like literally the same thing. GZ Doom allows for crouching and jumping. That's exactly what I'm gonna try and get the movement to be exactly like this, like gratuitously. Melee weapon category. Melee weapons will drop from monsters. They will be a part of the game. They will not just be some offhand weird thing that you can click and waste an extra key. Standard difficulty settings similar to most first-person shooters: easy, medium, and insane. Death penalty is a small loss of experience points, credits, and everything rewinds to 5 seconds before your death. So I'm not actually... So when people die, even in co-op, literally all that happens is you go 5 seconds back to where you were, something like that. It rewinds you, right? And I guess in some ways, like I might have to experiment with it more. I don't know how it would work in co-op, but sort of like a synergy mod for Half-Life 2, where maybe like in single player, everything fucking rewinds. Like you literally, like as soon as you get that fireball in the chest and you watch the burst, and it just goes, and you go right back to like 5 seconds. 5 seconds is a long time, by the way, guys. Like when shit's actually going down. So literally, I never let you get taken out of the game. You never end up in a situation where like, fuck this, I just fucking died in a hard spot and I lost all my shit. This is the exact opposite. You're not going to have a chance to escape. You're gonna be stuck playing until you want to stop. Zero story. Literally accidentally kill the writer for the story in the first room. This kind of coincides a lot with this part right down here. I'm kind of skipping ahead a little bit. More visual approach to UI. I'm not doing any text. As little text as possible. Outside of the tooltips that give you the stats and stuff, that's it, man. There's not going to be any fucking story. There'll probably be, I don't know, even if anything, like maybe some like half-assed dialogue or something, like basically kind of makes fun of the fact that there is no story. But the game will have kind of a sense of humor about the fact that there's just no story. You're fighting shit, and shit's happening. No level cap. So monsters level up with you, normalizes, and co-op normalizes things so high and low level players can play together. Borderlands 3 already seems to be doing this kind of a thing. But basically, if I'm level 99. I'm fighting level 99 monsters, while my buddy who's playing with me, he's only level 10. He's going to be fighting level 10 monsters, but it's going to be the same monsters. Alright, so it's like there's going to be a system in place. So Revulsion 1 already works this way, but we never really had a chance to really show it. But basically the way this would go is like everybody sees whatever the monster's level that they're currently fighting currently is, and everything like that. I don't know about instance. Yeah, I guess everything would be instanced as well. Like loot would be instanced, everything like that too. I'm not gonna worry. I may pull back on the no level cap thing because I kind of like giving you goals, but the level cap system will work pretty differently. Easter egg in the game: player gets loot box, but it's empty, falls into lava or explodes. Destiny 2 kind of does the same thing. Yeah, loading last checkpoint. Kind of, except the checkpoint is always following you around. That's actually kind of one of the things about that. More visual approach to UI. Various improvements to the stat system. All gear and weapons are random gen, outside of named gear and weapons. So when you're getting gear, like I'm just gonna be like you're just gonna get random stats. I'm gonna have a system in place where, it just randomly generates it for you, and then that's what you get. Like, you might get a gun that does ice damage, you might get an ice pistol. Like, that's the way it should have been with Revulsion 1. But the way I designed it, it didn't, it just didn't work that way. Like, it would have to require a big redesign to go that direction. Crafting now works more like Diablo 3, where you get a random item or, of a specific type. So rather than just giving you blueprints, you can just craft, make me a pistol, and it just makes a pistol and randomly generates a pistol for you. And like you can keep doing it, and like maybe, depending on the materials that you use, it'll be higher quality or lower quality or whatever, right? Like, all gear weapons can offer any kind of stat. If you notice, the weapons in Revulsion don't offer any of the other stats. So like You might get a gun that increases your carry weight capacity, or makes you run faster or something like that when the gun's out. Like you might get knife, that'd be kind of funny, as like a knife that makes you run faster, like fucking Counter-Strike. All gear and weapons have gem slots for upgrading. So when I say gem slots, it's a very like unique thing, but there's like every single item in the game, armor, everything will have slots, and you can jam in upgrades into those slots. So all of them will have an inventory of their own, and those will modify the stats of the weapon. They'll change. They may even change the name of the weapon. Like if I have like an ice gem and I put it in my ice pistol, or if I put it in my regular ballistic pistol, it becomes an ice pistol, right? Already got a name played for the fast boy. Alright, that's cool. Base stats for character are better intertwined with gear and weapon stats. Yeah, I mean, I guess a lot of this is just saying it's just more elegant. Armor is now the percentage of your health that is protected. Okay, so right now in Revulsion, you have two pools. You have your armor, and then you have your health. But in Revulsion 2, basically, you'll have a big white health bar. So let me load the game up to better explain this. So you see how I have a white health bar right here? Now if I put on a big suit of like plate mail armor, and it's like really fucking has a really high defense rating, and it gives me a huge amount of armor, these will just these three health bars will turn yellow, right? And then if I put on a pair of like leggings, and then two more of these health bars will turn yellow. As long as I'm taking damage while any damage I take while my health is yellow, it'll be calculated through my defense rating, right here, right? So ideally, you want your health bar to be as yellow as possible for you know what I mean, so that it's represented that your health is being fully protected by your armor. But if you have a low armor rating, then only the first like 3 or 4 of your health bars will actually be yellow bars. So this is rather than having an entirely separate bar for your armor, you actually it'll just protect your health in one bar, and there'll be other stuff too. Maybe like you have shields, and so if you equip something that gives you shields, then maybe like blue appears here or something like that. But it's a lot more elegant. It's like, yeah, let me see. It's like armor in D&D, raising your your armor class. Yeah. Let me think. Like, because your armor class. Wait, actually, let me. Your defense rating is how much is your armor class, and then your armor is how much this defense rating. How long until that defense rating it becomes basically 0, right? So your armor class, your defense rating is important because that's your actual damage mitigation when you're in the yellow. But if your armor reaches 0 and you're in the white, you basically are naked. You don't have armor at all, and you're taking 100% damage, which is really bad. Probably. I think that this system, similar systems have existed like this. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but I can't right now. So that's it. Okay, attribute system. Going on level up, spend stats, and then unlock boosters, unlock specials, passives. Okay, now I can probably better explain this if I'm in a different, if I'm in the actual test level, real quick, but. So every time you level up, you get a point that you can spend. You can spend that point on increasing your, your attack power. You'll have your base stats, your max health. You can increase your max health. You can increase your accuracy, your attack, or whatever. But then you also have like your movement, your jump height, your action points max. But then you also have all of these, oh shit, I gotta kill that guy. Where is he? Shit. Oh god, he's level 205! Oh god. Okay, anyway, let me just hope that he doesn't fucking find me. I forgot that I put a new game plus on. You see how like how much of these guys, you know, like how much of these different abilities there are? Well, rather than just have them be loot, I think they should just be tied to your attribute system. So you have the option to increase, you know, your maximum action points, but then as you go down the tree, you'll have like, okay, I can, you know, here's my healing wave, and I can upgrade the healing wave 5 times, or I can go further down and I can spend points and I'll get Berserker's Rage. You know what I mean? Like, it's already kind of halfway there, and then I can choose which ones I want to equip, and I can change them out anytime I want. So, like, I can be like, okay, I want this one to be the one that I'm using. I want this one. And then I can also equip passives, too. So, like, maybe there's a passive down the tree. So, like, there'll be like, trees for all of these different things. But then you also have, like, your base stats. So, like, maybe you increase your accuracy a certain amount as well. So, like, your base stats would be at the very top, and then, you know, going down from there, you would have, you know, okay, maybe I'll use, you know, I'll grab an orbital strike and I'll equip that for a little bit or whatever, but I can go really far down and I can get, you know, damage, something that's really good, bulwark shield or or the currently nerfed dark shield. Actually, you know what, I'm gonna fix dark shield before I do the next patch. That's right, it just reminded me. Thank you, Victor. Actually, you just reminded me because you were here. Alright, so with that said, that's the idea. So it's going to be based very much on attribute points right from the get-go. Boosters and specials are now tied into the attribute system. They're not necessarily loot. So with that said, alright, I think this video went on for 26 minutes, but yeah, there was actually quite a bit to go over. I definitely want to hear your guys' feedback on this, and I'm thinking that it just seems like the better way to go. Like, if I can start with a fresh slate, and it probably won't take me too long to at least have something that it's marginally playable, I think that I think it's worth it. I think it's worth going completely fresh in. And with that said, you know, supporting the project, like, you know, buying a copy of Revulsion, or even just, you know, showing up on DLive and tossing some ice creams at me or something like that every once in a while. Anything is probably a good thing on this front. But yeah, I think I'm actually gonna do it. I'm gonna start up on. Oh yeah, that's the other thing too. Literally, almost every night I've been streaming, and I'm probably gonna keep doing that, especially when I'm working on this project. So you'll actually be able to see a first-person shooter get built, literally on live stream. Oh, so get a lemon. So with that said, all right, guys. Yeah, so I usually stream pretty late and everything like that. Alright, I guess I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to end this now. But yeah, alright. Take it easy, guys.